Hello. Just going to have a sip of tea. Oh, good morning, beautiful. It is or evening, wherever you are. So beautiful to be here with you today. It has been ages since I've made a reading for the month. So today I'm going to use my intuitive presence cards and do a little reading for the month of June. So let's have a little bit of a shuffle. So whenever I do a reading, I just kind of, as I'm shuffling, I'm just setting a bit of an intention in my body. So if you're a really visual person, maybe that's setting an intention with like a visual word or a visual image. If you're more of a felt sense sort of person, you might even like feel the intention in your body. And if you're a hearing person, then maybe you might be able to either say the word out loud or hear the word in your mind for your intention. So my intention today is to be of service in terms of allowing some really attuned messages to come through for us. Oh, so, so often when I'm shuffling, a card will just kind of fly out or it'll just go. So this is the first card. Authenticity. So authenticity is about sensing within, asking, what do I feel? And honor your truth. So when I read cards, I go by the feelings that I get in my body, any visuals that I get kind of like popping into my mind. I go by the words on there. And sometimes like I'll kind of get a bit of a storyline through the image. So interestingly, this image has actually been coming up for me personally a lot lately. My beautiful, beautiful tattoo artist, Stacey Nightingale, recently passed away, and it's been so sad and so impactful for so many people. But at the same time, I've had this real sense that since she's passed, it's given me goosebumps. She's really working her magic behind the scenes. So, and I actually have the original artwork of this in my room, and I have had for many years. And every time I look at it now, I just feel like it's Stacey, just like holding the world and helping us to be fruitful. Um, and also kind of keeping our eyes on the target. And in terms of this word being around authenticity, perhaps this month is about really kind of almost, well, yeah, almost like really kind of allowing ourselves a moment each day where we can just kind of like tune in and see what we need and intend to be authentic. I think particularly if you're late diagnosed autistic or ADHD, uh, then like myself, that brings with it lots of challenges in terms of learning to unmask. And by masking and unmasking, I mean masking is showing up in the world how we think that we will be best perceived. And it can be often be a trauma response because we want to show up in a way where we feel like we belong and that we're not rejected. So the work, I think, as we get older is just having an understanding or starting to open up an inquiry around, are my actions here coming from a place of authenticity? Like, does this feel right for me? Or am I just going along with tapes that I've learned or heard? So, yeah, and there's some on the back here, it says sense within. So maybe this is like a little tool, and maybe it's a daily kind of sensing tool throughout the month of June about sensing within. It could be putting your hand on your heart. It could be noticing the thoughts and trying to catch some thoughts as you kind of navigate your day and just sensing within, And just noticing, am I responding authentically here in this situation? And sometimes that's a no, and that's okay. It's not about, I think, authenticity and the journey to being authentic. It's a life's work, and as each new situation presents itself, or a new person, or a new work experience, or a new illness, there's always, I sense there's always an underlying current under there of the universe's beautiful hand supporting us with a new experience where we can view ourselves differently and choose to either get the supports that we need to help us live authentically, or choose authenticity in that moment. So it's not about getting it right or wrong. It's really just an internal, I'm doing this like an internal tuning, an internal swaying from side to side. And then as, oh, that's not quite right. That's a bit too far. Oh, it's a little bit closer. And then kind of titrating until we get to that point where, hang on, that just feels right. Asking yourself, what do I feel? So often for me, I will know if I am not living authentically in like quite a broad sense, if I have a huge amount of tension in my shoulders and I lean forward a lot more, because for me, that's an embodied response of feeling like I'm wearing this cloak of responsibility, almost carrying a backpack, not just of my own stuff, but other people's as well, and expectations. And the last part is honoring your truth. So there may be many ways to honor your truth. And I think one of the most powerful ways is actually to start to make time to do things that you really love, things that really, really light you up. And for me, that is definitely like doing Lego, working with my plants, having beautiful cups of tea, going down in the garden, and of course, making art. So yeah, I try and include those things in my week every week. And lately I've been doing a morning practice where for 10 to 20 minutes each morning before I actually start work, doing something that feels nourishing for myself. So that's authenticity, and that one's dedicated to beautiful Stacey. Thank you for still helping us and working your magic from afar. Next card is Pivot. Time for change, embrace not knowing, and shift from normality. As soon as I looked at this card, Pivot, so a kind of a felt sense came to me. Remember how I was doing this before about like when we were talking about authenticity and how to find that as a felt sense? Sometimes it feels like, oh, we're a little bit, oh, that's a bit too far, oh, that's a bit too far, and just like slowly kind of making small pivots until we kind of reach that sweet spot. And also, I feel like there's something around having or being able to hold space for that sweet spot always changing. So something that has been really hard for me, and it's very much an autistic part of me that really wants to know how things are and know that they're going to stay that way, because that enables me to feel safer, and it enables me to be able to plan as best as I can. I'm not great at planning, let's be honest. But now I've lost what I was saying. The autistic part of me, blah, 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 going back and forth. Is oh, that's right. It was about wanting things to really stay the same. And I'm just really trying to hold space for when I do make that pivot and everything feels chaotic because it's new and I'm freaked out and there's a new situation and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to navigate it. Just have an understanding that even when I do reach that point where I have that sense of stillness, or that sense of, oh, right, I feel like I've landed here, that feels about right, to not hold too tightly for that to stay that way. Because like I mentioned in the previous card, I genuinely feel like the universe is always presenting us with opportunities where It's like an undercurrent of becoming for us. And so with this undercurrent of becoming, sometimes that may mean that something will stay there for a long time, and other times that may need to shift. And I just kind of imagine like a little seed, and sometimes it shoots up and becomes a really big tree, and other times it'll start to shoot and then it won't get enough rain and it might not continue on. Or maybe it might be like a little plugger where what are those plants that kind of like grows a little bit to the side and adds a new root, and grows a little bit to the side and adds a new root. So just having some sort of openness and understanding within the sense of being able to pivot into new situations, also holding just a little bit of space for yourself, just to not hold too tightly on into getting it right, and for things to stay that way. And it's such a hard lesson. Like, we work so hard. We work so hard to get things right and to try and do things right and to care for ourselves and to care for everyone else. And when we kind of find a sweet spot, of course, we want it to stay that way. Like, of course. Um, but if you have a look at the entire evolution of the planet, the only way that anything has been able to grow and evolve is through change. So there has to be some sort of beautiful, benevolent force, I sense, underpinning all of that. See if there's anything else on the card. So that embracing not knowing, and that shift from normality. So maybe this pivot is also about, is there something that you might want to do in June to kind of just shake things up a little bit, embrace something new, maybe even reignite. We were talking previously in the previous card about doing something that you really love. Maybe it's reigniting something that you really loved doing as a kid. And then the last card is empathy. So before I tell you the writing on the back, I just want to share a little bit about the story of this artwork. So I created this artwork when I was deeply, deeply, deeply into my first mega burnout. My son was 3 years old. I was undiagnosed, ADHD, undiagnosed, neurodivergent. I had celiac disease and I didn't know it. I'd been breastfeeding. I'd hardly gotten any sleep. And I was just absolutely overwhelmed. And this artwork, through the process of this artwork and really allowing myself, probably for the first time in my life, to actually sink into that blackness of burnout. And I guess I had to sink into that blackness of burnout because I had zero energy from being a mum, a new mum, to be able to pivot or dig myself out. So I really allowed myself to sit in that inky blackness of nothingness and no capacity. And from that, these little kind of pockets bubbling up of new experiences, new insights that I might be able to lean into to help support me when I'm going through rough times. And this part down here is a real flourishing of the heart. So a real kind of like bringing a real depth of love and compassion and empathy to ourselves when we are having a really tough time. And for some of us, having a tough time can almost feel like a lifelong experience. If you live with chronic illness or chronic pain, lifelong trauma, a lot of the time, those experiences can mean that, and can feel so strong in the body, that we forget that coming back to the heart and having some compassion for ourselves is even an option. And we can also forget that there are other little pockets of experience in our life that can and do bring us joy when we engage with them. So let's see what empathy says on the back. So loving kindness. So that's this part. Behold your heart. Oh, I love the word behold. It's like be as you hold. So just behold your heart. Maybe let's just do a little, if I invite you to, if you want to do just like a little short heart beholding now. So let's make it physical and embodied. So maybe just start getting comfortable. You can have your feet wherever you like. They can be crossed, they can be dangled, you can be laying down. I've got my feet on the floor, just moving my lower back just to get a bit comfy. Taking a breath as I roll my shoulders and my neck. So I'm just kind of like moving the parts of my body where I often feel like tension or stuckness and just inviting a little bit of space there. Maybe stretching your arms. And I invite you, if you feel comfortable, just bring your hands onto your heart. Let's just take some breaths there. And it's not even about, you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to do anything. Let's just hold our hands gently at our heart. You might want to explore some pressure. Do you feel like you need some deep pressure on the heart today? Maybe you can feel your heartbeat as you do that. Maybe softening to very light pressure, seeing how that feels. Seeing if you can still sense that heartbeat on your fingertips. And maybe trying a medium pressure. And just seeing which one of those fits. Mine kind of feels medium to firm pressure is needed today. And let's just stay here with the heart for a few breaths. I'm not trying to focus on anything other than just seeing if you can sense the heartbeat. Or maybe just feeling your hands resting on your body. Noticing if you have any holding in your gut, seeing if you can just soften that a little. And just sensing the heart space. Noticing if there's any colors or like a vibration or a felt sense, texture or experience in your body or in your hands. Just seeing if we can take one really lovely mindful breath into the heart space. Bringing empathy and love there. Being grateful for all of the times it's beaten every day, every moment of our lives. And coming back when you're ready. I like to give my heart a little bit of a rub after I've spent some time there. And the last part of empathy is around self-understanding. And for me, empathy and self-understanding, I explore both of those through my art making. So art making for me is a beautiful form of tapping into myself and my needs and self-inquiry. But self-understanding can also and does also come about with beautiful support. So if you have any professional supports that may help you reach into your heart space a little bit more or open your heart a little bit more, that might be really helpful this month. You might even find some, you might even like to do a little bit of research on some sort of herbs or teas that you can drink that help with heart opening or opening into love of self or for those around you. Just going to have a sip. Yeah, so overall, we have authenticity, pivot, and empathy for June. So if you are interested in kind of like some beautiful self-inquiry, maybe some of that getting back to things that you might have enjoyed doing as a kid, if art making or crafting is one of those things for you, you might like to join my Art and Chai membership. It's only $22 a month, and we get together on the second Wednesday of every of every month. And you just bring whatever you're working on. So you might be a crocheter, you might be a drawer, you might be somebody who really loves to read even. And so, yeah, for an hour and a half, we just get together and we just make art together. It's really relaxed and it's a beautiful community. I do a card reading and a little guided mindfulness, and then there's a little bit of a share session at the end. And the other one is I've recently launched my new program called Attunement, and that is for neurosparkly wellbeing practitioners. So whether you're an art therapist like me, or whether you're a nurse or even a teacher, somebody who works to help others on a daily basis. And if you're neurodivergent, often those two things can naturally lead to burnout a lot more easily. So Attunement is a beautiful community group space that's educational. I'll be sharing a lot of new research around neurodivergence and using therapeutic art experiences for us to process, bolster our experience, and yeah, just carve out some time to learn about ourselves and our needs so that we can bring that to the people that we work with and those that we love. So thank you for being here. I hope this reading has been helpful, and I hope that you've got a little bit from it. If you have, feel free to email me. I'd love to hear how it was for you. Thank you. I wish you a beautiful June, and yeah, lots of heart love and pivots and authenticity for your month ahead.